All right, this is still a section 11.2, and we're going to do some application problems for systems of three variables of linear equations. Here's our first example. We have a family reunion where there are only relatives, and the relatives consisted of children, parents, and grandparents. There were 400 people total. That's going to be important. There were twice as many parents as grandparents, and 50 more children than parents. Twice as many parents as grandparents, and 50 more children than parents. How many children, parents, and grandparents were in attendance? All right, well, let's go ahead and define our variables. Let's go ahead and make G equal to number of grandparents. And we'll make P equal to the number of parents. And we'll make C equal to the number of children. And this is kind of a weird problem that I got from someone else, because now I'm realizing that, could it double count that obviously somebody's grandparent is somebody else's parent? But we'll just think of the grandparents as like the greatest generation, the parents as like baby boomers, and the children as like Gen X or something. Like you're in one of these three categories. So let's go ahead and solve this equation. So we know there are 400 people total. So that tells us that G plus P plus C equals 400. And there are twice as many parents as grandparents. So that means if we took the number of grandparents and we multiplied it by 2, we would get the number of parents. All right, let's keep going. We have twice as many parents as grandparents. So that means if we had 10 grandparents, we'd have 20 parents. So 2G equals P. And we have 50 more children than parents. So that means the number of children is 50 more than the number of parents. All right, that was the easiest way for me to write these equations down. T looks weird. And so now we're going to try and make them look a little bit more like what we're used to. Let's write them as a system. Well, my first equation I'm happy with. G plus P plus C equals 400. In my second equation, I'd like to get the P over to the other side. So I have 2G minus P equals 0. And my final equation is going to be C minus P equals 50. Or minus P plus C equals 50. And now it looks a little bit more like the systems that I'm used to. All right, let's get rid of that G in equation 2. So let's go -2 times equation 1 plus equation 2, and that will be our new equation 2. Minus 2G plus minus 2P plus minus 2C equals minus 800. 2G minus P equals 0. Add those guys together. And we get minus 3P minus 2C equals minus 800. All right, and this one's already in the terms of P and C, so minus P plus C equals 50. All right, so now we just need to get rid of that minus P in the third equation. So our next step is going to be, let's see, what's the easiest way to do this? We'll do minus 3 times equation 3 and add it to equation 2 and replace equation 3 with that. So equation 2 is staying the same. Minus 3P minus 2C equals minus 800. And minus 3 times equation 3, minus 3P. Oh no, it would be plus 3P because it's minus 3 times minus P would be 3P. Minus 3C equals negative 150. Negative 3 times this equation. Negative 3P times negative 3P minus 3C minus 50. Whew, that's a lot of negatives there. Let's add those guys. Minus 5C equals minus 950. All right, so we have our system of equations. Let's see if I can squeeze it in here. G plus P plus C equals 400. Minus 3P minus 2C equals minus 800. And finally, minus 5C equals minus 950. All right, we can solve this guy starting at the bottom. Switch colors. Minus 5C equals minus 950. Divide both sides by negative 5, and you get C equals 190. And we know that minus 3P minus twice 190 equals minus 800. Twice 190 is 380. Minus 3P minus 380 equals minus 800. Add 380 to each side. Minus 3P equals minus 420. Divide by negative 3, and we get 140. And finally, our last equation is G plus 140 plus 190 equals 400. So 400 minus 140 minus 190 gives me 70. All right, so we have 70 grandparents. $140 parents, which is twice 70, so that's good. And 190 children, which is 50 more than 140. So I feel pretty good about our answer. All right, let's do one more problem. This is a little Thanksgiving gift from me to you. You will have a problem like this on the homework. It might be this exact problem, otherwise it'll be very similar. And we're going to do it right now together. All right, so a chemist has 3 different acid solutions. The first acid solution contains 15% acid. The second acid solution contains 25%, and the third contains 65%. He wants to use all 3 solutions to obtain a mixture of 96 liters of 40% acid, using 3 times as much of the 65% as of the 25% solution. How many liters of each solution should be used? All right, let's jump right in. Let's let X be equal to the liters of 15% acid. We'll have Y be equal to the liters of 25% acid. And we'll have Z be equal to the liters of 65% acid. Okay? He wants to obtain all 3 solutions to obtain a mixture of 96 liters. All right, so the first equation we know is X plus Y plus Z equals 96. That's just total volume. Now we need to think about how much acid is going to be in each one. Well, the X, if we had 10 liters at 15% acid, then 1.5 liters would be acid. So we're going to write an equation that just talks about how much acid is in each one. So the first one is going to be 15% of its liters. The second one is 25% of its liters. And the third one is 65% of its liters. Z. And that's going to be equal to its 40% solution in the end. So 0.40 times the total milliliters of 96. So the first equation is just liters. The second equation is liters of acid. And the third equation comes from this bit about 3 times as much of the 65% solution as of the 25% solution. So how would we come up with an equation for that? So that's talking about the 65% solution, that's Z, and the 25% solution, that's Y. And we want to use 3 times as much of Z as we do of Y. So that means if we take 3 times Y, we'll get the amount of Z that we used, right? All right, so there's our system of equations. Let's go ahead and try and solve these. Let's rewrite it a little bit neater. x plus y plus z equals 96. 0.15x plus 0.25y plus 0.65z equals, let's figure out what 0.4 times 96 is. 38.4. And finally, 3y minus z equals 0. All right, let's dive right in. Step 1, negative 0.15 times equation 1 plus equation 2 gets us into equation 2. Negative 0.15x plus negative 0.15y plus negative 0.15z equals 96 times negative 0.15, which is negative 14.4, and we're going to add that to 0.15x plus 0.25y plus 0.65z equals 38.4, and negative 0.15 plus 0.25 is 0.1, so 0.1y plus 0.65 plus negative 0.15 is 0.5z equals 38.4 minus 14.4, which is 24. All right, so now we have x plus y plus z is 96. 0.1y plus 0.5z equals 24. 3y minus z equals 0. We're getting there. All right, what are we going to do to get that to drop out? What do you take 0.1 by to get negative 3? I think it's 30, right? 0.1 times 30 would be 3. So we're going to multiply by negative 30. Negative 30 times equation 2 plus equation 3 is my new equation 3. So let's see, negative 30 times 0.1. Negative 30 times 0.1, so I didn't do that, is negative 3. Negative 3y plus, okay, negative 30 times 0.5 is negative 15z equals negative 30 times 24, which is negative 720. We add that to 3y minus z equals 0. Oh, okay, good. I thought I couldn't scroll up anymore. I get minus 16z equals negative 720 as my last equation. Can I squeeze this in? I think I can. X plus y plus z equals 96. 0.1y plus 0.5z equals 24. And finally, negative 16z equals negative 720. We're almost there. Start at the bottom and work your way up. Minus 16z equals negative 720. Divide by negative 16. And I get z equals 45. Well, that's nice. Now, 0.1y plus 0.5 times 45 equals 24. So 0.1y plus 22.5 equals 24, minus 22.5 from each side. 0.1y equals 1.5. Divide by 0.1, and we get y equals 15. And finally, we know that x plus 15 plus 45 has to equal, was it 96? Yep, 96. So 96 minus 45 minus 15 is 36. Whew. That was a little bit rough with all those decimals, but it's really the same process. So our answer is 36 liters, what was X? I don't remember, of 15% acid. 15 liters of 25% acid and 45 liters of 65% acid. Those guys all add up to 96. 15 times 3 is 45, and I'm going to let you guys check the last equation on your own. All right, happy Thanksgiving.